Welcome back to Highlight Your Healing. I'm Shannon Roane, grief coach and founder of J&J Journals. And today, in this bonus episode, I want to talk about Highlight Your Healing, the journal, and how it became the idea behind this podcast. Not just what it is, but why it exists and why I believe so deeply that healing deserves to be seen and not rushed or minimized. But before we get into the journal itself, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how we highlight things that matter to us? We highlight important dates in our planners. We highlight deadlines, reminders, or appointments that we don't want to forget. When you were in school, you probably highlighted the important parts you wanted to remember. Or when you're reading your Bible, you highlight the scriptures that stand out to you. We don't highlight everything. We highlight what stands out, what speaks to us, or what we want to come back to later. And at some point, I realized we don't really do that with healing. When it comes to healing, especially after grief or loss or disappointment, we tend to rush. We minimize, or we tell ourselves that I'll just keep going. We don't pause long enough to notice what's happening inside of us, let alone mark it as something meaningful. And that realization is really where this all started. Before Highlight Your Healing was a journal, it was just me trying to survive my own thoughts and emotions. After my pregnancy loss and all of the trauma that came with it, I started journaling because my emotions were all over the place, and I really needed somewhere for it to go. Some days I wrote prayers, other days I wrote things that I didn't even want to admit out loud, and some days it was anger, but a lot of days it was just a lot of sadness. And over time, I noticed that certain moments in my journaling kept pulling me back. There were certain things that I didn't want to forget, even if they were hard. So I started highlighting because I wanted to make a way to note that this was something that mattered. This was the moment that it all clicked for me, that highlighting isn't just about perfection or being productive. It's about awareness. And that's when the ideas started to form. Think about it. Nobody highlights an entire book. Nobody highlights every sentence on a page. You highlight what stands out to you in that moment, what resonates, what feels important right now. And healing works the same way. Your entire healing journey won't feel good. Every day may not feel hopeful. Every moment may not even make sense. But there are moments where it's worth paying attention to, moments worth noticing, and moments worth marking. Maybe it's a boundary that you finally set, even if it felt uncomfortable. Maybe it was a day that you got through even when you didn't think you would. Or it could be a feeling that you allowed yourself to name instead of pushing it away. Or it could have just been a small sense of peace that showed up unexpectedly. Those moments matter. And I realized there wasn't a journaling space that allowed healing to be honest, layered, and visual all at the same time. That's why Highlight Your Healing exists. This journal isn't just something I created. It's how I learned to sit with grief without letting it consume me. It's how I stopped trying to rush joy, instead allowed it to come back naturally in its own time. When I started this process with other women and some of the one-on-one clients that I coach, I kept hearing the same things over and over again. I didn't know I could feel more than one emotion at once. Or I heard things like, I didn't know that grief and gratitude could exist together. And that's when I realized that this just wasn't a journal, it was a conversation. And that conversation is what became this podcast. At the heart of Highlight Your Healing is the color-coded system. And I want to walk you through that because it's an important part of how this journal works. And this journal doesn't ask you to judge your emotions or label them as good or bad. It only asks you to notice them. So in the Highlight Your Healing bundle, you'll get a copy of the journal. It comes in both paperback as well as hardcover. You'll get the color-coded healing key. It comes with a pack of highlighters, And then it comes with a pack of silicone bookmarks. Each color represents something real. Blue represents grief, the sadness, the heaviness, and the days where things just feel harder. Pink represents love, what you still carry, what mattered to you, or even those things that soften you in the middle of your pain. Orange represents frustration, anger, confusion, and the why did this happen moments. Green represents growth, those small changes, new awareness, or maybe moments where something inside of you starts to change. Yellow represents joy, not forced joy, not pretending to be happy, but the quiet, honest joy that shows up when you weren't expecting it. And here's what I want you to hear. You don't move through these colors in a straight line. You don't graduate from one and never return to it. You move between them. Sometimes it's in the same week, sometimes in the same day, or even in the same sentence. That's all healing. And colors matter because healing isn't just mental, it's physical, emotional, and visual. And when you look back through your journal and see blue mixed with green or yellow showing up more often, you're not guessing if healing is happening, you're actually seeing it. And for so many women who have been taught to just be strong instead of honest, that visibility matters. This journal isn't about fixing yourself because nothing is wrong with you. It's about learning how to sit with yourself again, how to trust what you're feeling without rushing it away. And my hope is that Highlight Your Healing becomes a place where you don't feel judged or pressured to be on the other side. It's a place where you can check in and say, this is where I am today, and that's enough. So before we wrap up, I want to share where you can get the journal. You can purchase the Highlight Your Healing bundle directly from my website at jandjjournals.com. The bundle includes the Highlight Your Healing journal, a set of highlighters to support the color-coded healing system, silicone bookmarks, and a color-coded chart that explains what each color represents. Everything you need to get started is there in one place. The journal is also available on Amazon if you prefer that option. But that version only includes the journal, not the bundle items. So if you want the full experience, the visual system, and the tools that help you actually see your healing, you'll want to grab that bundle from my website. And I'll link all of this in the show notes so you can choose, which one makes the best sense for you. Healing doesn't require you to have everything figured out. It doesn't require you to feel hopeful every single day. It just asks you to be honest about where you are. Whether you're sitting in grief, frustration, growth, or even moments of joy, all of it matters. So take this with you and notice what stands out. Mark what matters. And trust that even in the smallest moments of awareness are part of your healing. So if this episode spoke to you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend. And until next time, be gentle with yourself and don't forget to highlight your healing.